If you're starting out at around 30% body fat, or you've got a lot of body fat to lose, but you're watching this and not really sure where to start, I understand, because it's completely overwhelming at times with the amount of information online. The idea of this video is to cut through the noise, simplify what you actually need to know, how are you going to see the most dramatic changes in shape, and let's just get straight into it. The first thing that I would think about is increasing your step count and getting some form of structure in the gym. Now, this needs to be realistic around your work routine, your schedule, whatever you think you can manage. And what I would say here is, if you're not really moving much at the moment, get in the habit of doing 6 to 10k steps a day, just increasing that up over time, burning more calories because you're moving more, and then getting in the gym 2 or 3 times a week. Now, the reason that structure for your gym training is important is because if you change your exercises every week, how can you measure progress and actually see those changes in shape? The body adapts and builds muscle over time through something called progressive overload, which basically just means increasing the reps or weight over time. So if you keep the exercises consistent through a structured gym training program, you can find any simple full body training program online, and you maybe get in the gym 2 or 3 times a week to start. Once you're then tracking those workouts and seeing that those exercises that you're getting more confident on, whether it be these big movements, squats, deadlifts, things like that, start light, get confident on your form, slowly build the weights up over time. You pair that with getting more active outside the gym with increased step count, you're going to be burning more calories, and then you can think of the gym training as basically changing your shape. Now, how you actually see those big changes in shape is pairing the increased step count gym training with what you do outside the gym. What I would recommend as a starting point to not get overwhelmed by fixing your diet completely and trying to change everything overnight, just focus on a couple of key things. The first one I'm going to talk about is sleep. So the reason sleep's important basically for staying on track with all of this is getting a good night's sleep makes everything easier. I'm sure you can relate. Those days where you've woken up with a bad night's sleep, 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is, everything's harder, right? You get more cravings, so it's harder to stick to your diet. You're just lacking energy, your mood's lower, impacts everything negatively, and just makes your day a lot harder. So it's not really realistic to stick to a healthy diet, to get to the gym and really push yourself to do loads of steps. It's not really realistic when you're just starting out and trying to create these habits if your sleep is terrible. So just make your life easier by getting more sleep, trying to aim for 7 to 8 hours consistently, going to bed at the same time each night, getting up at the same time each day if that's possible with your routine, and just trying to be as consistent with that as possible. Not very sexy advice, I know, but people will overcomplicate all this for you out there, and if you nail your sleep pattern, everything gets easier. Now, the diet side of things, the most important thing, regardless of in terms of specific calorie goals and things like that I could talk about here, the habit that you need to nail is protein intake. Now, I know I'll probably bore you to death with banging on about this, but protein is super important, because if you want to see changes in shape and you want to build muscle and see a more visibly leaner physique and changes in shape, protein is how we build muscle, how we recover. And if you're under consuming protein over a longer period of time, that's where you're not really going to see that many changes in shape. So the sooner that you can get this habit being consistent with your protein intake and just making an effort with high protein meals, the sooner you will get in shape. As a wise man once said, I've never met anyone that's had 150 to 200 grams of protein every single day that's really out of shape. It's quite difficult to do if you are being really consistent with this habit. So what I would start with this, rather than looking for like a specific gram per gram sort of tracking process, or doing it really specifically, I would just get in the habit of like a plate portion rule. So what I advise some of my clients on that don't want to track calories is essentially looking at your plate, half is going to be fruit and veg, and then a quarter protein, a quarter carbs. This is naturally going to bring down your calories for a couple of reasons. So the first one is protein and fruit and veg and fibre, very filling, and you're going to be more full from these meals. If you imagine like having a croissant, which is like 500 calories, if you had 2 croissants, and then 500 calories of protein and fruit and veg, you get a lot more volume of food. Once you are having, protein-based meals, you're going to be more full. You'll probably naturally snack a bit less. That brings your calories down. Drinking more water, keeping yourself full between meals. Again, this is going to naturally bring your calories down without having to even track specifically. And then you're pairing that with increasing your activity levels through a step count and getting in the gym maybe 2 times a week initially. Now, I completely understand that this is really difficult at the start, and it's always less motivating at the start. You're not going to be buzzing for the gym. You're not going to be springing out of bed like, yay, I get to go to the gym today. It is going to be difficult at the start. But the clients that I've seen that can, stick with it in the first few weeks, be consistent with high protein meals, these good habits, drinking more water, these are all, relatively small things to think about in isolation. So, walking a bit more, drinking more water, having some protein-based meals, I guarantee you this will pay off in the long term, and it will be harder at the start. But instead of trying to change everything overnight and basically trying to track calories, trying to be get in the gym 5 times a week, 6 times a week, trying to be perfect with your diet, I guarantee you if you try and do this at the same time, all of this, you will not be able to stick to it because it's not really realistic. So you'll want to change these bad habits to good habits slowly over time, and the key things to remember are sleep, protein-based meals, structure to your gym training, walking more, getting some steps in, and then later down the line, if you want to then incorporate some more cardio, you can, but I wouldn't really be doing that straight out the gate and burning yourself out. I really hope you found this video useful for just getting started on your fitness goals, with your fitness journey, with losing body fat. And if you've got any more questions, just drop a comment. If you found this useful, drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon.